Hello, welcome back to the Lights On. Fuck, this is.
Hi.
What are we story? Like how you got to this position?
Oh, my past. I mean, when we're walking around in a state of unawareness, we essentially will replicate the family dynamics that we were raised in. So for me, myself, I'm the byproduct of two drug addicts who actually met in rehab. So I just kind of feel like it was doomed from the get-go. Rehab is one of those places where there is a lot of sexual activity between the participants or the clients. What would you call them? The patients.
Yeah.
Just because you do a lot of sharing in those type of environments. It's kind of like the AA, NA kind of dynamic. And you sit there and it feels like a safe space to open yourselves up and be vulnerable. Other people are listening who might have similar traumatic experiences, and then you go and do something like trauma
Yeah,
bonds.
you trauma
You
bond.
connect. And so both of my parents actually had the same trauma, which was sexual abuse. My mother was sexually abused by her grandfather. I think she said it was she didn't open up about this until I was a teenager, but she said it was from, I think, 8 till 12. And then my father opened up when I was an early adult, and he told me that he was also sexually abused from the age of 4 to 8. So, I mean, sharing those type of experiences and being vulnerable and connecting with someone who can also, you feel, can also understand your perspective and why your life has kind of ended up where it is, you're most likely to connect. So that's what happened. They were both in marriages at the time to different people. My mum was married to an Englishman, and she had a child with him they were both living in England. And my dad was married to, oh my God, this is a whole different story, but my dad was essentially groomed by my dad was the youngest of 6 children, and my auntie was, I think, the oldest or the second oldest, and she had a best friend who I think was about 10 years older than my dad, and she started grooming him at 14 and having sex with him at 14, and she was in her mid-20s. And then he grew up and he married his abuser. So, and I've had this conversation with him, and I said, like, look, you were groomed. It's actually sexual abuse, and it makes sense. You've repeated the pattern because it was already there. But he's just kind of taken that kind of macho man stance and said, no, no, no. Every young boy wants that. And I was like, yeah, but if it was a female being abused by a man in his mid-20s, it would be a whole different outlook on the situation. So anyway, that
Yeah,
was,
what do you think about these teachers? These teachers coming, these female teachers sleeping with their high school students.
I think they're trying to replicate, or not even replicate. They're trying to create a certain fantasy in them in their reality that they had as teenagers. So I'd say that the women who are doing these types of things were not very popular with boys when they were in high school. And I think now that they're older, they have more power. Um, and I think it's a whole power thing, and it's a self-esteem thing, because I look at young boys in school, and to me, they look like little children.
Yeah.
Like, they don't, like, I couldn't even try to sexualize them if I wanted to, because it's just like they're children. My mind just does not go there. So the fact that they can do it, I think that there's a part of them that's kind of still very much heavily connected to their past experiences in high school, that they're trying to resolve through these sexual experiences with these boys.
What about the boys? Do you reckon those boys are being groomed, or
100% they're being
do
groomed.
you reckon the
I don't
boys
care
are?
what, like, boys, I know that they're not going to sit there and cry about it. Like, if a girl was raped by her teacher or groomed by her teacher, like, I know that they're not going to do that. But at the end of the day, their brain hasn't fully developed. They don't have the capacity to make these types of decisions. They're not looking, they've got no impulse control either. So they're not looking at the potential outcomes of knocking her up and falling pregnant with her and stuff like that. Do you remember that famous one from, like, I think it was the 90s, and it was this much older woman, I think she was in her 30s, and the boy was like 14. He was an islander boy in America.
No, I never seen that.
Oh, because they recently, a couple of years ago, did an interview. She got sent to jail
Yeah.
while she was pregnant with his baby.
Damn.
so 20 years older than him. And then when she got out of jail, they created a family. And they did an Australian 60 Minutes interview a couple of years ago. And it was like, because he was a man now and she was in her 50s, he was like in his mid to late 30s. And you could see the revelation on his face as he was going through the interview, how he could see that he was being groomed, how she had taken advantage of him. She had kind of, you're so heavily influenced as a teenager. You're influenced by your peers. You're influenced by the fads that are going around. One day you see someone wearing TNs, next week you have TNs because you want to be like them. So if you have an older person that's filling your mind, your impressionable mind, your undeveloped brain, all these ideas, of course it's wrong. But you can't see that because you're just like a young boy and you just want to have sex. That's it.
Yeah.
You don't care who you have sex with, you just want to have sex. And then, oh my God, it's an older teacher, she's got more of an adult body, she's more fully developed rather than the little schoolgirls that you're going to school with. She's more experienced sexually as well. Like the dynamic of power abuse there is just,
That's so interesting. I've never thought of it that deep. But if I was or have a mate who was in that situation, to be fair, I'd be like, go for gold. I wouldn't think of it as sexual abuse.
most guys don't.
Yeah, I just wouldn't.
Yeah.
To
I don't think you would until you were like, in your
50, 60,
maybe.
mate, that's too long away.
Maybe.
That's years. That's a century away.
Yeah. No,
I'm 19, eh?
You're 19, you're a
19,
virgin.
18, but...
You haven't experienced life.
Yeah, exactly. Straight sheltered. Living on the streets of Junkieville.
Do you know what I want to know about? I want to know about your experience in Kenya before you came to Australia.
Oh, true.
Yeah, I want to know the things that, like,
Yeah.
when you kind of reflect back on it, like the things that kind of stand out the most, or the experiences that had the most impact on your life and why you are the way you are now.
Damn. Kenya. Well, never going back. Fuck that. Different place. Third world countries are a lot different to first world countries. I won't really delve too deep into my experiences in Kenya. Not yet. Next episode. Maybe. But I don't know. Yeah, it's a different world, eh? And I feel like because I've experienced that and I experienced the change to coming to a first world country, I can appreciate the opportunities a lot more, which is probably why I am so driven to achieve. Also, seeing my parents work really hard when they came over also puts that like kind of puts me in a position of I feel like I'm indebted to them. And so I have to become successful for their sakes as well as my own.
That's a common belief system
Yeah.
with children that are from immigrant parents.
Yeah, I don't mind it because fuck, I'll be successful, so I'll benefit from it as well, and I also want them to be happy, and so it's just all around the good things.
Do you think that, can you see actually anything that Kenya has that Australia lacks?
Kenya has that Australia lacks. I haven't been there for a while. I came here when I was 8. So in my little 8-year-old brain, looking back, Australia lacks. No, I reckon they're just different places. There's a few ways I could take that. Oh, there's no mental there's no mental health issues in Kenya
What do you think that is?
because you'll just get killed, eh?
Yeah, you don't have time, do you? You don't have time to reflect on problems.
And
Do you think you're more solution focused in countries like that?
it's not even like solution focused. It's like if you're crazy and you do some dumb shit, someone will kill you.
Yeah.
So all the crazy people, they're just not there.
Oh, so they've been eradicated is essentially
Pretty
what you're saying.
much. Because
Wow.
like if someone does something like some of our clients, they do some pretty heavy things. Their mental health clients do some pretty unfortunate things. Yeah, they wouldn't survive. Like if they did some of the things we've seen them do to anyone in Kenya, yeah, they're not.
So it's more socially accepted in first world countries to have
Um,
mental health issues. It's accepted more so
yeah. It's
and
more
kind of
accepted.
integrated into our
Yeah,
society as a
yeah.
whole.
And the first world countries are more like they try and help more than like they have the time to help rather.
Okay.
Because,
And do you think that's a positive thing for first world countries, or do you think that's more detrimental?
bro, this is to be honest. I reckon it's detrimental, eh?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, right. As much as I hate to say it, like I don't know.
I mean, we're
I don't
not
know.
saying we want to eradicate
Yeah.
people with mental health issues. That's not what we're saying whatsoever. But it seems to be a systemic issue that is kind of primarily affecting first world countries who are trying to address these problems. And I don't. I personally think that it is very prevalent in first world, mainly English speaking countries, because it is what's the word I'm looking for? A symptom, a systemic symptom, a symptom of a system that does not work.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that in second or third world countries that their system works as well, but I'm just saying there's something that we in particular are doing within our system that is creating this. It's a byproduct of an unhealthy system. And I'm big on not allowing emotions into the mind, and I think that is where the issue falls. I think that is the cause of majority of mental health issues, is because people are seeing and thinking through the lens of emotion, and emotions are illogical. They don't make sense.
They are.
They're completely
They
illogical. And if
are.
you want to argue with me about that, go to a park and just sit there and watch. Oh, that sounds creepy. Just sit there and watch children. Just go outside. And
Yeah, don't do
if you
that.
see a kid and you see them have a meltdown over something that is, to us like, oh, that's
Trivial.
trivial. Exactly. They're having a meltdown because, I don't know, they're not allowed to eat rocks. And and
Yeah.
the mum's
Some
saying,
kids
sorry,
are.
you can't eat rocks, it's not
Oh,
good
you're
for
not
you. And
allowed
they're
this toy.
screaming, it's the worst thing in their life. It's because they haven't developed logic yet. So they're seeing life only through emotion. That's how they view life. And I think that people who are stay in that aspect of self and they grow up as adults, they're the ones that are most likely going to have mental health issues. And I can say it for myself because I struggled with a lot of mental health issues growing up, heaps. And it's because I saw life through the lens of emotion. So if I was depressed, I was seeing life through that lens. And it doesn't need to be that way. Your emotions should never rise to your mind. They should never rise to your mind. You need to gain control of them because they're like a rabid dog. If you let them into your mind, they gain control and they will absolutely destroy your life.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. If you're reactive all the time, you can't do shit.
Yeah.
Like if someone, for example, even this, like if someone cut me off on the trip here and I'm like getting pissed off, I'd
And
be like
chasing them.
chasing them. Who knows? I could end up in a ditch, right? And I can't film. But if you're always the cause, not the effect, life will be good.
Oh,
Life will be
100%.
good.
Yes.
I see myself as always be the cause, not the effect.
Mm.
So if someone's doing something or gets angry, you're at the cause. If it's raining, think of yourself, you're at the cause, bring an umbrella, and you're never at the effect.
Yeah. Or just change your perception. Like, it's raining. I love dancing in the rain.
Yeah,
Find the
that's
positive
it.
to it.
That's it. I
Always
was
try and
gonna
find the.
fuck. I was gonna say something. Oh, the mental health thing. So, I was gonna clarify that the current system we have, and sure, a lot of people might argue that in first world countries, or the reason third world countries don't really have such a big mental health focus is because it might be there, same as like back in the 80s or 60s or 70s. Maybe there wasn't like that much awareness. I know a lot of people will argue that. And now that there's more awareness that all these traumatic things are coming into light, and now we have like systems to help those things. At the same time, I also feel like, so this, you will probably disagree or not. I also feel like at the same time, when you go through trauma, you can choose to either let it affect you or not. So obviously, trauma will affect you. I've been through my own traumatic experiences, but as long as you can reflect on it, you can then choose to be the cause and move forward and then act accordingly and not let things get to you. And
Yeah.
even like what you were saying before, like you want active challenges. So you put yourself in situations where you're always winning and you'll suddenly change your self perception. And instead of being depressed and thinking low on yourself, you'll start thinking highly of yourself and you'll keep that upwards momentum.
Well, and I think as well, this is why people like Andrew Tate, and I have a neutral kind of perspective of him. He says a lot of things that do make sense, but then on other areas of life, he has quite a limited perception. So I don't like him or dislike him. I think he has valid points at
Yeah,
times.
do you reckon girls can drive?
I'm one of the best drivers
You
that I
sure?
know. Yeah, no, and I can't talk about the situation right now, but there was a situation I found myself in, and one of the people that was in that said that I was one of the best drivers he'd ever seen. He was like, "You can
Oh,
drive really, really
true,
well," and I was like, "Yeah, I
true.
know," but anyway, that's besides the
Yeah, I
point.
know.
It's because I believe I can drive well that I can. It's because I
Yeah,
believe in my ability, kind of thing.
yeah.
And I learned to drive in Sydney, so that helped. But you've just lost my train of thought.
I'm
Oh
lucky,
yeah,
mate.
so this is why Andrew Tate and Fit and Fresh podcasts and things like that, they have a really positive response from the male audience, is because one of the key pieces of advice that they're giving these lazy deadbeat guys is the first thing you need to do is get your body into shape. You need to go to the gym, and it's not the outcome of having a really good body. It's the process of it. It's the actually taking on active challenges.
Yeah,
And I've
true.
always said the way that your body looks from training is literally just the byproduct. All the other things that you get from it, the change in characteristics, the active challenges, the dopamine, the
The
serotonin, the
confidence.
confidence, the sense of achievement, that is the primary goal of training. So this is why these guys are so successful with their audiences, because they're actually taking their advice into account and they're actually acting on it, and they're seeing the benefits of
Change.
it. The body, the way you look, is just the byproduct. I want to state
Yeah.
that enough. So yeah,
Don't get me wrong. I reckon if you want to look good and that's the reason you train, start. That's how I started.
that's how I started too.
And then
But
I've just
that's
stuck to it
yeah, exactly.
because
So
you get so much more.
yes, exactly. I mean, if that's your initial goal, go for it. Because if that's going to get you up in the morning and it's going to get you into your car and it's going to get you into the gym and do your first rep, go for it. I was like that for years.
Yeah.
But it's just the process, I realized, and it's never ending. It's you're not going to get the perfect body and think, okay, well, I'm just going to stop now because I've
Yeah. Your
achieved what I've
body's always
achieved.
either getting
Now
better or
you're
worse.
hooked. You're hooked. You're hooked to a calm nervous system because you've exerted all this nervous energy. Especially for me, I've got a lot of nervous energy in my nervous system. So for
Yeah.
me, going and expelling it in positive ways is super helpful for me. And I always find myself in these ruts when I start getting too overwhelmed because of the passive active challenge thing, that I'll stop going to the gym. When I eventually do push myself back into it, because it is a habit for me now, I will always go back. When I eventually do go back, I think to myself, fuck, like, why have I not trained for 2 weeks? Like, I feel so much better. I have no anxiety for the rest of that week. I feel energized. I feel happy. I feel like I have a purpose. I feel like I've achieved something for that day. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
so
That brings, yeah, like even like with like, because I have a list of things. My calendar's pretty stacked on things I have to do like at certain days, or I have certain deadlines for my company. I know if I'm like on the path to not hitting that deadline, I will feel extra anxious that day. Or if I don't get something done that I knew I was supposed to, the next day I will be extra anxious and be like, fuck, I feel off, eh? And then realize, oh, it's because I didn't do that thing yesterday. All right, let me just schedule a time to do it today or tomorrow or the day after. And as soon as I
100%.
schedule it and I do get it done and everything's on track, then I start feeling great again.
And you know what? Because I woke up at 6 a.m. to go to the gym today, but then I was so tired because I went to bed at like 12:30 last night. My fault. So I went back to bed, and then when I woke up at like 8:30, instant anxiety.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Instant.
That was me yesterday. Yesterday, I don't know why. Oh, it's because yeah, I hadn't looked at my. Too busy doing shit for this fucking podcast. I just swore nice. Yeah, I was too busy doing stuff for this all weekend, and then come Monday or yesterday, what was I don't even know what yesterday was. Yeah, Tuesday. I was like, hadn't touched that in a couple of days, and I was like, oh nah, I feel obnoxious. This is the worst.
Yeah.
And then I did. I hopped back on, so now today I feel great again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. It's its own fulfilling prophecy. So if you want success, stay tuned. We'll keep you guys updated. You
Yeah.
have anything to
No, thanks guys for tuning in today. Like and subscribe.
like and subscribe? That's it. Actually, do it, eh? Like, sit now. I'm gonna wait for you. Go down, click the button, like, subscribe, and leave a comment on your thoughts.